Massmart, the way we run the business, is we run it when we get our income statements, is we get this year's results, and we compare them against last year's results, and we come to conclusions. It's a business run on this year versus last year. And we make all our conclusions. And so if my boss would phone me up and say, how are we doing? I'd say sales are up 5%, profits up 15%, we're down in interest, so net is up 8%. And for a while, my boss, Dave Cheesewright, put up with that. And then he said to me, Grant, how are you doing against plan? Because we have budgets, but we don't use plans. Walmart runs entirely on comparing this year versus plan. They don't look at last year. And so for a while, when I was being shown the results of Walmart, and I never knew how we're doing, we're just above plan, we're just below plan. Sometimes, by the way, being above plan was making $1 billion loss. Okay, so I thought, well, that's doing quite well. They went, they do. I won't mention the country. No, they're doing terribly. And they were not understanding me at all about how the business was doing, because they didn't know whether my 10% growth or 10% decline for some of the years was good or bad. Our share schemes were entirely different, and our incentive schemes were entirely different. So in Massmart, we had an incentive scheme that the greater that, in sort of measured against inflation, corrected for inflation, the greater your profits grew every year, the greater you got paid. In Walmart, you get paid by some percentage of achievement of plan. And so, Dave Cheesewright would phone me and say, look, Grant, my incentive, you're $5 million short of plan, so $5 million short of plan, so that sounds like a lot. So you're stuffing up my incentive. But I didn't even know that, Dave. And by the way, I don't care, because I'm up against last year, so your plan's wrong. And we suddenly became completely disconnected. The entire organization, the finance teams became disconnected, and the operations team disconnected, and we completely lost each other. On share schemes, the Massmart share scheme was the stock was issued at current price. It was held vested for a while, and then whether the share price went up and down later, you either made or lost money or didn't exercise your options. In Walmart, you get given what's called a free share, and the vesting of that share depends on your performance against plan. So can you see that with us on this last year, this year culture, compared to the Walmart, everything's aligned per plan, we missed each other on every dimension. And ultimately what we had to do, and it's the job that Kate did, was we had to take the Massmart incentive scheme. First of all, we had to change our whole forecasting and planning system. We had to change it to a plan system. We had to take our entire incentive scheme and redo it according to plan, and we had to take our entire share scheme, stop the old one, and relaunch a whole new one. And it's still a Massmart scheme. You still paid against Massmart numbers, but it works at least with the same language.